Hi guys, welcome back to Cyborgian's album reviews. I have Michael here again, but unfortunately he is in Florida, so yeah, but we can still do this and stuff. And he's gonna have to talk quietly because it is very late where he is and people are sleeping. So, all right, um, all right. But we are here, as you can see by the title, to talk. Oh God, I gotta move that. To talk about the new record from Insomnium, Shadows of the Dying Sun, which is pretty neat because I actually wrote a lyric that has Shadows of the Dying Sun in it before I even knew about this album a year ago, which is pretty neat. But that is unrelated. Let us get into talking about all of the songs on this album. You can skip it by clicking underneath my little window here if you just want to hear us talk about the album in general with no spoilers. Okay, so the first song on it is called The Primeval Dark. This album opens with some quiet guitar setting some atmosphere, and then a really Omnium Gatherum-esque drum pattern sets in. And there's this breakdown, honestly, that comes in where the guitars actually sound really good. I love the guitar tones and the ambiances and nuances in the opening of this whole thing.
Wait.
Yeah.
Well, no, you said about the Omnium Gatherum-esque drumming, I could not agree more when you said that. When it opened, it was just it was so Omnium Gatherum. I got so many Omnium Gatherum vibes from that first song.
This whole album in general has a lot of things that you could compare to Omnium Gatherum, honestly. But I personally found this to be a better and more powerful album opener than the one on Across the Dark, which is admittedly the only album I've heard prior by this band, so it's the only thing I have to compare to. But Michael, I'm sure you've heard more than just those two albums.
Yeah, I've heard Across the Dark, Above the Weeping World, this album, and I think their first one all the way through.
Okay, but I love the atmosphere and the lead sounds in this. This is definitely my favorite album opener of them from the two I've heard, and it goes straight into the first main song, While We Sleep. This song has a perfect blend of just using two notes that bounce back and forth in the melody and going up with that sound that I've heard from Across the Dark. And it's a blend of that and the new song they released first from this album, which is called Ephemeral.
Whenever you mention that, it kind of has that blend with Ephemeral. I couldn't agree more on that because, the fact that they take other songs that have been made by them and kind of put the same vibe and the same feel in it is just astronomical. That's just incredibly genius. And I'm still to figure out how to do that in my own music. It's how do you do that?
Yeah. I mean, we all gotta find, how to put our influences, what
into
we
our
like
music.
about it. Yeah. But there's this part where you get the awesome melody in the lead guitar of the chorus. You realize that, for me, I heard Ephemeral, like you said. We heard that song first. It was the first one released. And I kind of thought from the production and just the punchiness that they might be refining their sound for their new material. But when you get through this song, when you get through While We Sleep, you realize they haven't really refined their overall sound too much. As it is, it has more of this liveliness and upliftingness to it. And I also think the clean guitar solo and the electric guitar solo are two of the best on the album. On this song, it's just great.
Yeah, totally. I couldn't agree more. And when you said, it sounds like they, they kind of refine their sound in a way, but, not entirely. I can agree on that because, as we know in Across the Dark, they had this, super dark and, super, sinister and, extremely naive, messages in their music and in their lyrics. Whereas in this album, they take that same vibe, that same feel, and give it, a more positive and more uplifting approach. It feels more full of life and full of meaning. I'm not saying that Across the Dark didn't have meaning. It definitely has meaning. But this album's meaning is just...
Yeah. Why don't you talk about that with the next song? Because I know the lyrics in that really struck you. I mean, one of the lines that really struck me was, 2 eternities could not be so far apart that I could not bridge them together. But yeah, why don't you go in depth with that about this song? Because that song definitely is one of the positive ones for me.
Yeah, totally.
Revelation's the next song, and it's the lyrics. He's gonna be talking about that.
Well, like the lyrics wait, we're talking about Revelations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like lyrics for Revelation in comparison to Across the Dark, like they take Across the Dark, and it's like they threw it in a blender, and it's like they chopped it up entirely and mixed it all together. Like it's like two different kinds of meat in one sandwich. It's really interesting, especially
it definitely feels in that Across the Dark vein, like musically, not
yes,
lyrically.
and like I said in Across the Dark, they had that sinister, dark, naive vibe. In this album, it's like they still had it, but it's a little more subtle, and like it has this really uplifting and like heartwarming vibe to it. It's kind of hard to pinpoint.
It feels like, I don't know, like the lyric video works really well, I thought, because it shows the birds flying over the seas, and this song just gives you that feeling like you're flying and voyaging over a foggy sea and through the skies.
Yeah, entirely. Like, I get that.
I also want to point out musically that I feel like the bridge in this song isn't quite as strong as the verse and chorus content, which, oh my god, I love. It's awesome.
Yes.
But, yeah. The structure of this song overall works really well, though. Okay. Oh my god, the next song. Just, oh my god. It starts off. It's called Blackheart Revelation, by the way, and this is one of the best on the album, by far. It starts out with this blast beat, which I have honestly never heard Insomnium do blast beats before, and this 3-note ascending tremolo melody that just sounds huge and godlike. I love the tremolo guitar throughout this song, just in general. It's so powerful compared to like musically what they've done before. It just gives it that whole new edge, that other bands, like brutal death metal bands, have, but it's not like brutal death metal for Insomnium. It's just, no. And then the riff at 2 minutes and 19 seconds comes in and makes me completely shit my pants. That is one of the best riffs I have heard from this band, by far. Easily a favorite.
Like, I don't know. The thing about the riff there is like, okay, like we have the riff in Into the Woods, the beginning riff in that track.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so like abrupt, and the element of surprise is so big in that song.
I feel like that song sounds a hell of a lot like the band Balacore.
A lot. They do. It does kind of, in a way, in a really strange way. It does, but
compared to this song, Blackheart Rebellion,
the vibe in Into the Woods is very, very much similar to this song, and the reason why that's relevant is because like they try to like. It's almost like they're trying to play something that, like, it's like the only way you'd be able to understand the song is if you were a musician. Like, the way this band portrays their music is so, like, it may seem simplistic, but in the long run, especially with this song, it's a really deep and, like, psychological process that only a musician would be able to understand.
I'm not sure I can entirely agree, because, like, I feel like this song, it has all those elements that make it, like musical terms, like it has like those blast beats and everything like that, but at the same time I feel like it's a song that a lot more people could get into because it only is constructed of a few parts. Like, one of the things I've noticed about this album is that the songs don't have as many main ideas in them as their past material that I've heard. So like this song to me felt way too short, despite its length. It felt like it ended like that, and like even non-musicians who like listen to music can get that same feeling. Like me and Andy, who also, some of you guys may know, has reviewed albums with me on this channel, both agree that a song is good as shit when it feels too short, whether you're a musician or non-musician, and it definitely has that feeling.
Well, yeah, like...
But, I think we should go on to the next song.
Okay.
The next song is called Lose Tonight, and I felt the chorus in this song was pretty nice, but I have a feeling it could have been better. I like the second half of the song melody more than the first, and it felt a little more simplistic, just in overall structure than some of their other stuff. And it has a really nice bridge section, though. Like the lead here gave me a bit of a like winter sunny Japanese feel. I don't know if it uses pentatonic scales, but it sort of has that atmosphere, you know.
Like about the winter sunny part, like whenever
It's very short though.
Yeah, it's really little, but like whenever I first heard it, like I felt the same way. Like I was sitting there listening to that part, and I'm like, this does like it kind of has like I was thinking it does kind of have a winter sun vibe, but at the same time, like there were parts like the timbres that kind of reminded me of Meridian. Some people like know this band. I mean, they're very
they're
very
pretty
very
underground. A little at this point.
Say what?
Aren't they pretty underground still at this point?
Yeah, like I heard they were disbanded, so it's like.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But then after that, it goes straight back into the chorus. This is one of those kind of relatively predictable song structure songs. I think it's like kind of an inverse of Revelation, quality structure wise, because Revelation, the bridge was the weakest part of that, and the verse chorus content was fucking amazing. With this, it's the other way around. The bridge is short, so it's definitely not one of the best tracks for me. And you said it was your least favorite too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we get to Collapsing Words. Now this and that first song released, Ephemeral, which we will get to, oh my god. But they're what sound like Insomnium could be progressing with their sound, because this song has the most intense opening to any Insomnium song I have ever heard. It's almost cinematic and huge, with everything just being thrusted at you at once. It's way more punchy than a lot of their songs, like Ephemeral, and the chorus is even faster paced. It sounds like it's on crack, and it's awesome. It's just like how if you have enough quiet parts, then the loud parts will sound huge. A lot of this is loud, so when it pulls back from that intensity, it sounds extremely serene, but that part doesn't last quite as long. I wish it would, though. And the last minute of this song is where it finally gets back to sounding like more typical Insomnium,
Like, yeah, like about what you said, like this track, like it's serene. Like I felt that same vibe, especially like near like the beat, like the second half of the track. Like it just become like it has this build up. Like I hear it in the soundscapes. Like I can hear it clearly that like something is going to happen. Like it's like something important is going to take place in this track.
Yeah, definitely. And then we get to the song The River, which starts, and you're going to like this because this is actually one of Michael's favorite albums, like, ever. It starts with a vibe of samples and synth sounds that's very similar to what you could find on the album Planets by the progressive rock band Eloy. And then it goes into this other super powerful tremolo riff that's awesome, and it's brilliantly placed in contrast, like, just the whole structure of the song. Not only in terms of soft and versus loud, but also just this beginning section cycling through like a few different rhythmic ideas. Like, how there's a few grooves, that like alternate.
Yeah.
The melodies throughout this song, though, maintain a really high level of just beauty and spectacularness, but it's when they reach their peaks, when even newer, more beautiful ideas come in, that this song becomes like, it's also a standout song along with Collapsing Words. Both those songs are just fucking great, And then we get to the song Ephemeral. By far the best fucking song on this album. I wanted to listen to this album because Michael showed me Ephemeral first, and he told me about how the lyrics never turn your back on yourself, one life, one chance, that's all we have. And spoiler alert for those of you who don't know us, that's the reason why he came out to me. Me and him are together partially because of that song. Well, we're gay anyway. But
Yeah.
So this one in particular has a really deep meaning to us both.
Yes, very deep. Especially considering Like, okay, like when I first heard this track, like I did kind of get like an Across the Dark vibe, like subconsciously.
I didn't at
But
all.
but to be honest, subconsciously I did. But this song can be put like okay, it's almost like this song doesn't even belong on this album. Like this
I can
song
feel you on that.
deserves like a whole different category of its own.
I feel that way with this and Collapsing Words the most.
Yeah, entirely.
But it was released as an EP version, which is actually what he showed me, and the production sounds completely different. On that version, it's much more punchy and less atmospheric and sounding like their typical production on this album, which I'll get into later. But the whole album, just I thought it might have more punch and evolution, like this song gave off the vibe of, but it does, just not to the degree I expected. What were you gonna say?
Like what I think it was is like, okay, like Ephemeral is like one of those songs that like they probably made a long time ago that they just decided not to put on an album. But see, but I think also about how you mentioned the production in the EP version and the production in the Shadows of the Dying Sun version are different. You want to know what I think it was?
What?
It was because I'm pretty sure that the Ephemeral EP was self-released and self-produced, and this album version was produced through Century Media.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Like I heard Luke Hammerhart. For those of you who know his channel, like he was talking about how he doesn't like how the vocals are produced on like the clean vocals on any Century Media shit. He hates it.
Yeah, I think I'll be honest. Sometimes they do sound really weird and like out of place in the song.
Yeah,
but I think it gives it a good vibe.
I don't know. This song didn't even have cleans though. It just works. It just clicks. If you're gonna listen to one song from this album, fucking listen to this.
Listen to Ephemeral.
Yep. And then we get to the Promethean song, which is the most previous Insomnium sounding opening to a song on here, in my opinion.
Yes.
But it has this fucking it has this random pausing. It's like the opening section happens like you just press the pause button, like randomly in the middle of some note, and then it just goes into a new section. Like there's just random pause that just does not work at all.
Like, you know, the thing about this track for me was like,
I hated that though. Go ahead.
Wait, what?
I said I hated that though. Like that it just pauses like that. The thing about this for you though?
No, like the thing about this track is this song reminded me a lot of the song Through the Shadows by Insomnium. Like it had that same like forever echoing like mental vibe, like because like in Through the Shadows it has like that like you're like the song was recorded inside of a forest. Like that's what I get. Like
I can kind of feel that about a lot of this album. Like just it has that typical like reverberant, very spacious sound.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But like I feel like this probably has the best clean vocal line and the best guitar solo on the album. It's not my favorite song, but it absolutely has those things going for it. But you said it is your favorite song. You want to elaborate on that a little before we go on?
Well, like, the reason why it's my favorite song on the album was because it just had all the Insomnium.
Besides Ephemeral.
Besides Ephemeral. Like, the reason why I just really love this track was because it has all of previous Insomnium vibes, plus the vibe of this new material commingled into one piece. That's pretty much why I liked it so much. It was like I got so many vibes. This song is like an emotional roller coaster at parts.
Yeah, man. Nah, like Ephemeral's the emotional roller coaster though.
It is.
Even to people who can't connect with like the lyrics that much, I feel like you can still get some kind of an emotional ride out of that song.
Indeed.
You know,
whoever does it sucks.
Aw. But then the title track, I found it, and the last song on the album, Shadows of the Dying Sun. I felt it used the same like exact fade in like sound effect as Lay of the Autumn. I don't know if you noticed that.
It did, but like it wasn't as prevalent as in the Lay of the Autumn. Like it was just in the Lay of Autumn, it was really big. This one, it's more.
Yeah, it's just very tiny.
Yeah.
It's got that little part in the beginning, but then it's got this big part where it's got this really well-timed build-up to the verse, which is basically spoken word, and then you get this huge heavy riff, and you see why this is the final song, because it's got that really impactful groove and just this finality that, you know, like a lot of albums have that, where you can tell it's the final song, and you can tell when the heavy riff comes in here.
Indeed.
But honestly, and I know you don't feel this way, this is probably my least favorite on the album, because I feel like that spoken vocal part offset the whole thing a little bit too much. When it came in, I felt like it was too much build-up. But when it does come back in, you said you got a different vibe, like it had more anticipation or something. You want to go into that a little?
Oh yeah, like during that section, like it's like they were trying to deliberately tease you. It's like, haha, you know this track is amazing, so we're just going to give you a little bit of it.
All right, yeah. I mean, I feel like they could have chosen a better title track, though, personally.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to the album as a whole section. Hello if you skip to here, because I'm sure this video is going to be quite a bit longer than most of my other videos. But anyway, let's start with the production. Overall, I think it has definitely a bigger sound and a little bit more of a clear sound, but overall the mix is extremely similar to their past work. I mean, they've definitely found the production sound that they like a long time ago, you know?
Indeed. See, the thing about the production for this album is that in comparison to Across the Dark, it's, okay, like, Across the Dark is the mirror. This the production of this album is the reflection in that mirror. That's pretty much the only way I can describe it. Like, that's how I feel.
That's a really good metaphor, actually. Yeah, and just the whole overall sound, it's very, very big in its scope. I can definitely hear some, like, elements, like we were saying earlier, that can be compared to the new Omnium Gathering, like I said, for the first track. Like, just in the heaviness of the riffs, just the overall, just guitar and drum, like, how they work together sound. And, like, could you give some more examples and elaborate on how you feel that way? Because I'm pretty sure you feel that way, too.
Like, pretty much, like, the thing with Century Media is we see they try to put similarities in a lot of the band's production. Like, example, like in Dark Tranquility, it has this really reverberant and really, like, cosmic, like, consciousness feel. Like, you feel it's like something you hear within your mind. This album kind of has that same similarity. It's just, you know, more subtle.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like, because this and Beyond and Construct, I kind of feel all have almost the same level of quality. It's kind of scary how similar they are in some ways.
Honestly, though, I will say that Beyond has a way more better quality than both Construct and this album.
I feel like Construct's the best out of the three, but that's neither here nor there. I feel like this album has a bit more potent, heartfelt musical content, too, in songs like Ephemeral and in songs like Revelation. So those two songs that came out first. But also, like, I don't know, just in general throughout the album. And, like, there are small changes to the melody style and the impact of the grooves on this album compared to their past work that I really feel gives it a different edge. Like, the melodic leads over the catchy parts. Oh my god, that is what makes this album so good. Just, like, the little embellishments of them where they turn, how they sound really folky, but not in a cliche way, you know? It's just beautiful.
Yes. Very, very much so. Like, especially how they, like, I feel like they focus more on the soundscape of the leads than anything else.
That makes sense. Like, the rest is just sort of this washing atmosphere, and that's the focus, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I don't know, do you want to talk just a little more about the lyrics for the people that skipped here, that didn't hear you talk about it, like, before? Just, like, a summary of that.
Like, okay, like, the lyrics.
Sorry, Michael has to whisper now because he actually has irritated someone in his house. So we're almost done with the review, though, so it's okay.
Yeah, but about the lyrics, they can be compared very, very well to like the lyrics of like their previous album, Across the Dark, or like Omnium Gatherum's Beyond. Like they have, like in Across the Dark, like I said previously, there's this like, naive, humbling, like angry, and like sinister vibe. It's like they took that vibe and cut it up and put it in a blender and like added some happiness and uplifting guitar tones and everything. It's perfect.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, but I would say this is my favorite album from them, from the two that I've heard. It's got the same vibe. It's still them, but it expands on ideas and sounds that I haven't heard from them. And like I could compare it to bands that I never thought I'd compare Insomnium to, like Eloy and Forefather, like I mentioned in that one song. But one more thing I want to say about this album before we close off is that in comparison to their past material, there's less main ideas in the songs. Like Across the Dark, personally, I spent like a year listening to that. I procrastinated finishing going through all the songs on that album like crazy. So they don't stick with me as much. But with this, I mean, I just listened to it relatively quickly, but it seems like there's less main ideas going on in this. So, on one hand, if if most of them don't hold your interest, like if there's 3 or 4 main ideas in a song and 2 or 3 of them don't stick with you, it's not going to work as well. And I felt that on songs like the title track and Lose Tonight. A lot of the other songs, however, really stick and are awesome because most of the ideas are good, like Ephemeral and Blackheart Rebellion. So yeah. Is there anything lastly that you want to say before we close off?
Well, the way I see it, this album is like they're giving us another tiny taste, like they did with the Ephemeral EP. They're giving us a little taste of what the future material is going to be.
I can feel that. I felt that a little with Construct. I think it's more of a tease with this, though, because with Construct it was definitely a bigger change. In this, there's potential for that bigger change to happen. Maybe like how it was for We Are the Void by Dark Tranquillity.
Yes, I entirely agree.
All right, I'm torn between whether I should give this an 8 or an 8.5, honestly. What would you say?
At first, I wanted to give it an 8, but now I feel confident that to give it an 8.5, and I do feel like it can grow on me.
I'm not sure. I'm just going to go with an 8 for now. I'll, see if that changes later, but it's Beyond's an 8.5, Construct's a super strong 8.5. I'm not sure where this is sitting with me right now, although I do think it's a great fucking record, And that's all, folks, for this time, and we will see you guys later. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. I know this is an incredibly long review, but it's heck, it's 2 people as opposed to 1, so.
Yeah.
Bye.